Right,
We
right.
gotta.
Oh, and we never did get on a call to figure out what is our strategy. Do we talked about strategy live? Since now we're live. Hello.
Well, yeah, no, well, the thing is that every now and then I get that burst of inspiration to
Yeah,
actually do some kind of documentation on the history of the No Holds Barred Radio Network. And
yeah.
I am most inspired about it when I'm reminded of all the ways and reasons that I was angry and furious at the No Holds Barred Radio Network. And for some reason that inspires me to want to dive into it even more. I am fueled by anger, so
Dude,
because I
you
am just
do
a.
have a problem. It might require medical attention.
I think I'm fine. I'm fine. I just, I have the perfect solution to all life's problems. Freevee is a free streaming service that has a channel that streams nothing but ALF episodes 24/7. That will take care of any problem you have. So, you look confused,
Yeah.
Brian.
No, 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 that wasn't a confused look. That
That
was just kind of, yeah. Hey, we had a computer named Alf,
we did.
right?
Yeah, because ALF fits right in with the Seven Dwarfs.
I don't know the why.
I
That was just funny as hell.
Yeah, well, when Tharco implemented SAP, there were seven servers, and they named the seven servers after the seven dwarfs: Sleepy, Bashy, Dopey, Doc, and Sparky Toaster got a Hulu ad, and
Yay!
some of the servers were backup servers that were over in Fairfield. I
Right.
think Bashful was one of the Fairfield servers, so I never
Right. Yeah,
really.
in fact, we ran our TST system in Fairfield, right?
Ah, right.
I
Okay.
think it was, yeah.
And some of the servers died, and then some of the servers I think were revived at some point, and some of the servers I think were revived into new servers that were back up, restored from the old. But at some point there was a server called Alf. Yes, and
Yeah, they got
that
an extra server and they named it Alf
because there weren't any more dwarfs to name him after. And I guess
because
Alf
the
is
IT
short.
the ID IT yeah, that's the positive thing. The IT director decided on
And
Alf. The others were named before he came on board.
I yeah.
That's why I don't know. Oh, incidentally, so when I started, we just had the seven
Right.
dwarfs.
The seven
I
dwarfs.
had gone just prior to starting, had gone to Disney World with my wife. It was a business trip that her company put together because they
Uh-huh.
were having a conference there, and we visited I can't remember who it was. In Epcot Center, they have different company sections. This one might have been General Motors, I think,
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
or AT&T. We went to
Oh.
a couple.
Oh.
But anyway, they mentioned that their servers were named after the Seven Dwarfs.
Oh.
So that was ironic.
Yeah, yeah.
But
There you
also,
go.
when we were in Disney World, General Motors had the EV1 car. That was that electric car that came out in the
Yeah.
90s or whatever,
Well,
that they leased out rather than sold. And when they decided the project over, they just recalled all the cars. Oh, nope, you can't have that anymore. Bye.
so, but anyways, that week that I was like, hey, we should think about I had to skip the show because like anniversary trumps show. But anniversary also wasn't going to keep me busy the whole night. So I was
Right.
like, maybe later we could jump on a call and I could talk about this great idea I have. My great idea being,
Yeah.
let's take this old idea I never got to, and let's actually talk about it again. But once again, the anger subsided, and I'm still interested in the idea, but I'm not as gung ho as I was a few weeks ago. But we should still talk
Yeah.
about it. Like maybe we have Damon and Mike Ellis on for a week. We just talk, kind of conduct interviews with past NHV staff members, and try, and then we could take the recordings and possibly chop them up into podcasts at some point, or never get to that part. But if we do the live streams and people watch that and it's entertaining, and we had the recordings so we can possibly use that material for a podcast at some point. That could be an interesting direction for the show. Of course, anytime we turn the show into absolutely one thing, then that leaves a lot of things out. So I don't. Anyways, that was what I was going to talk about that night.
I think it would be interesting to invite some of those staff members.
Yeah.
And they could talk about the history of stream. Basically, it's audio streaming, right? A radio show, audio streaming, which now we're doing video and audio streaming.
Right.
So,
I mean,
hey,
this is
why
a continuation,
People
obviously.
want to know where that stuff comes from, I think.
And one of my ideas is, and mind you, I still feel the emotions and I still feel the anger, but I don't hold it against anyone. And I think that's the key thing, is that, yes, the anger still motivates me. Yes, I still feel... Damon and I will go to our graves never agreeing on the way certain things went down. And I think we're both okay with that. And I think we both even understand to an extent where the other person's coming from. But I will always think I was right about certain things, and other people always think...
Of course you were right.
Of course I was, because I said so. And other people...
Exactly. And I agree with you. See, so it's 2 against however many there are.
And so I would love to have a, respectful, gloves off, powwow. Can you use the term powwow anymore?
Would you want a referee or?
Well, no,
just a peanut gallery.
I actually don't think it would devolve into a screaming match. I honestly don't. I think we're all of a maturity level that we could state our opinions and state that I disagree with this because, but I would think it'd be very interesting to invite Rico on the show, invite Damon on the show, and me, Damon, Rico. Just
counting.
Actually, like, really hash out what we were going through during some of those rough patches. Because here's the thing. I don't know Rico's point of view about it. And I know Rico's point of view of it was, you're wrong, you're annoying me, I'm taking away your access. But I know what I was doing that day. I know what my mindsets were that day. I know what preceded all those things. Sure. I don't know what's Rico's version of that story that gets him to the point of I'm taking away the accent. What was Rico really thinking at that point? What does Rico think in hindsight looking back at that time? I think that would be interesting. And then I know a lot. Damon and I talked a whole lot more than Rico and I ever did. So I know what Damon will say already, but we may as well have him on to say it all again because it's always fun to watch Gators and Damon go at it. Sparky writes in, it's good to have a mix of things, not the same old Cheerios, same old Cheerios counting all the time. Show subjects. Yeah, well, we're not going to do simming anymore, I don't think, unless we get Nick on the show. I think that's our last chance.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Our last chance for anything entertaining involving simming would be to interview Nick on the show. And I think it would be entertaining. I think it'd be interesting. We've talked enough about the guy. We should have him on sometime. But he hasn't picked up the phone, and he hasn't set up his voice. He hasn't deleted his voicemails.
Nick Endor now. Well, remember his voicemail box was full.
Right. Exactly. We can't even leave him a voicemail message. Right. But now, Sparky writes in, how many years has transpired since the Rico issue? That's a good question. And speaking of questions, we got Mars on the line. Well, not on the line. We got Mars in the room because
Mars, hey.
Hi.
I said that like you're just some caller to the show.
Sometimes.
Hello, Mars. How are you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I am great. And so, you know what we got to do? We got to do that thing that we do, which is open the show, which is everyone's favorite internet radio show.
Insert title here.
The show that changes names so frequently, we put a placeholder in. I'm here. Brian's here. Mars is here. And we are not trolling the cops this week.
Sparky Toaster.
Sparky Toaster.
Wait, you're trolling cops?
No, yeah, that was last week. We trolled the cops.
Oh, okay.
And then I ran over a church volunteer that was doing some gardening and sent him to Thy Kingdom Come. But
dude, that ain't cool at a church.
Yeah, Dune tweeted the clip from that.
Dude liked that clip.
Gators, you're going to GTA Heck.
That's
yes.
okay. I
does
can handle that.
Does GTA have a Twitmo?
GTA
Or
has
Gitmo.
yes. If you GTA does have a scoring system for bad behavior, for doing trollish things to impact other players. And if you
Yeah.
if you rank up enough bad behavior points, they send you into the same server with a bunch of other people that have also ranked up bad behavior points.
Oh, that's a punishment right there.
That's
That
better.
that right? Yeah, they send
Yeah.
Wait,
they
isn't that like
Unless,
sending?
of course, unless you kind of go, oh, good, I can have a free for all, and nobody's going to be complaining because
Yeah,
that's what this is.
no one has reported anything good about those places.
So,
It's
I
pretty
got a
much
question.
you die. Go ahead, Mars.
Is that like sending all the convicts to Australia? Is that,
That's-
you
A
know?
little bit.
It's
A
kind of like
little bit.
Australia, but without the killer animals.
Oh, are you sure about that? There might be spiders that kill you there. I don't
There
know.
might be. You just don't know.
Yes. Ox
Yeah.
jellies,
I
salty
never-
crocodiles.
So how many years has transpired since the Rico event? And that is a question. I had this figured out when I was thinking about this a few weeks ago. What years these things happen? I mean, we've got to be at about 10 years at this point. So like
Or
even though
close. I don't recall if it was still going on when I was in Singapore or not.
like
And
right now,
I've been back for almost 6 years.
yeah,
No, almost 7.
I mean, the drama existed before you were
Of course.
part of the show. Of course,
Yeah.
you and I knew each other through the drama, and I gave you play-by-plays every
Oh,
week. on
sure,
our
It's
show.
sure.
gotta
Yeah.
been 9 to 10 years.
But there wasn't
honestly.
any drama when you and I started this show.
Oh.
Right, because by then it was well, I mean, we
Yeah,
cast our
2011, 2012 is about 2011 because Venison had not done his 2012 prediction stuff yet.
yeah, and so yeah, that all went down, and it's one of these things that right now you ask me if I'm angry. No, not at all. Who cares? I big fucking deal.
Shall we say over
But-
it, right?
But
Like am I angry about the price of gas? No. I
No.
was angry at the price of gas when it hit 35 cents a gallon. I'm over it.
You're over it. But here's the thing: if I pull up the shows and if I pull up the emails and I piece together the details of the story again, because it's very hazy in my mind, so it's like if I were to dive into this topic, I sometimes want to remind myself, how did this happen? How did this go down? When did this happen? When did this thing happen with Loopy? Because me and Loopy had some exchanges that led up to some drama, and I didn't remember the details of that part of it. And so I pull up those emails, and then it's like, what happened with this part? And that's when it's like, I still feel that I was right about a lot of the parts of that, and I still feel
Wait
that
a
I was
second.
wrong.
So you're looking at an email trail?
I have all the staff emails still. I have them all.
And the emails all have dates.
Yeah.
So you
Wow.
you can actually date them and build a timeline.
Yeah,
And then walk through the timeline.
right. Although it's still very complicated because so many emails are sent over, numerous emails in a day. So they're and a lot of them are stupid bullshit things of like,
Of course.
hey, I counted Cheerios today, or but yeah, I can timeline it pretty easily. Now Sparky writes in, Rico might not even remember the issue. Oh, Rico remembers firing me. If there's one thing I know for sure, Rico remembers firing me. I pissed that dude off enough that he will never forget it. So
Poor Rico.
I almost sounded proud of that.
And I'm sure the one server's going down. I'm sure the server's going down soon. So just,
No. Me and Rico, I think, are cool now. Of course, I really don't honestly know what Rico thinks of me these days. If he, like me, I'm like, dude, I'd have a beer with the guy. I don't hold anything against him. If I dive into it, I still disagree with him, but I don't disagree with him in a way that I blame him or hold it against him, because obviously I recognize that we disagreed on the matter and that he has his valid reasons to feel the way that he did, and I'm not going to hold it against him right now because it's not negatively impacting me mostly. But it's that's that. I'd have a beer with the guy and talk about all the good times more than those times, but I would also love to take an opportunity to dive into it and get his side of the story and his version of things. Now, Sparky writes in, I forgot the issue was Johnny being fired. Well, the issue was that I say I was fired. Rico says I quit. And that's a big part of the disagreement. But I don't think that that's something that you see, that's the thing is I kind of said I quit, but I didn't really mean I quit. And then I said I don't quit. And then Rico was like, well, no, that you're I'm not giving you back your access. That's called fired at that point. If you want to continue to be part of something and they don't let you, you're fired. Saying, oh, well, you said you quit before we fired you, so that makes it okay. That means we're not you're still blocking me from doing it. At this point, we're just playing with semantics. And I don't dispute the fact that I did lay down a quit, but that quit that I laid down was more of an ultimatum for a situation that I felt was getting bad and spiraling out of control, and someone needed to put their fucking foot down. Now people will obviously tell their side of that I was just being a fucking asshole making a bunch of noise, and that's what you have to look forward to on future episodes.
If you knew which stream to tune into.
I only wish Venison was still here because he was also Venison was like Switzerland. He always managed to remain very station neutral to many of the things.
Well, look how many stations he was on, Gators.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, the only station that he might not have been completely neutral with would have been No Holds Barred Radio, because he didn't stream his show there, and I don't think him and Damon were ever buddy. But then again, they were never rivals. They were never enemies. They knew of it. So I mean, but Venison wasn't as chummy as he was with the other stations. But then again, Venison was a big part of this show, which is on NHB. So I think our show helped bring Venison more into that fold.
Well, him and Forge were also buddies from Jersey,
right.
So it's not like one of them didn't come to NHB. So
right, well that's true. Now, but Forge Forge was started Wild Bunch with Loopy, right?
Yeah.
And then I don't know how. I don't know the details of what went down, why Forge and Loopy left Wild Bunch. But there was some drama that ended with a bunch of people leaving Wild Bunch, and Zoe ended up carrying on what was left of Wild Bunch. I don't know what happened
with that. And I thought, I don't know.
And so Forge and Loopy kind of came to NHB because they needed a place to come to. Although they did become very good team players and a part of the community. Loopy and I believe, Loopy, rest her soul, I would not speak ill of the departed. We certainly didn't see eye to eye on things in our last interactions on the station, but I think we would both understand that we never held it against each other once time passed and cleared.
I mean, I'm sure if you met Loopy in person, it would have been nice and calm and nothing been going. No, you would have gotten beaten down, Gators. Just to let you know.
Loopy,
she would have beaten you with something.
One of the things is, and I say this with all the love in the world.
Yeah, pretty much.
Loopy.
We love Loopy. I mean, Loopy was cool.
Loopy was the type of person that had a smile on her face and a knife behind her back. But I mean that in the nicest way possible.
Oh, she must be from the Midwest.
The South. The South.
Oh, well, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm sure Loopy blessed my heart many times.
Oh, I'm sure she did. I'm sure she did.
And what I mean by that statement is she always had that polite smile on her face, but don't you dare cross her. And I didn't want to cross her, and I certainly wasn't aiming to cross her, but I feel that she felt offended by me at times, and
Yes.
Now Sparky writes in, was Johnny a little fire plug back in the day? A little?
He still is.
Little? You met me. Anyways, we're here to talk about film.
What?
Yeah. Kodachrome.
Yeah, Kodachrome. It's got all those favorite colors that you'll never see again.
By the way, Sparky, do you have another Cheerio box?
No. Actually, I got a Captain Crunch ad when I came on the server, so that's even better. I love Captain Crunch.
All right, Captain
Well-
Crunch it is.
Well, I have made my first
You
attempt
dummy.
to do a reversal development. Now, the past developments I've shared on this show were developed as negatives, which is a pretty simple process. And then I scanned them in and inverted them to a positive. So, but you can't. Well, you could project a negative, but if you project a negative, you're watching a negative. What fun's that? So to me, it was kind of a bummer that the movies I developed, I couldn't actually thread them up on the projector and watch them. I had to scan them in and invert them in order to watch them. So now Dune writes in, wait, where's the iPhone cat? I haven't bought the game yet. I got to check it out still. And it's a single player game. I don't think Brian and Mars want to just sit here and watch me pretend to be a cat with a phone on my back.
Well, I've already watched the playthrough like 3 times, so you know, it's an 8-hour game, by the way. Sparky, they're talking about Stray. Like when it came out, everybody on the day it came out, 60,000 people bought it and was playing it.
Yeah.
The day it came out.
I am going to check it out though.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's stream worthy or if it'll be another Cheerio counter. But there's a guy by the name of Adrian Cousins who has a YouTube channel. And he posts on his YouTube channel the amazing results he's getting with a Caffeinol reversal development process he has tweaked and refined and fine-tuned.
Are you supposed to reverse a catheter? That doesn't sound good.
Caffeinol.
Oh.
Caffeinol.
Oh, okay.
That was a good one. I thought that was funny.
There ain't no catheters on this show, okay?
And especially not a reversal one.
We are
Because
not.
where's that one going?
Right.
This ain't Fox
But-
News. We ain't
but-
advertising cathing. But
But have you seen the ad for the portable? The portable bidet.
the portable.
Oh, I have seen that one actually.
today.
Yeah.
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 That means you could take it anywhere you want.
Isn't that would partner well with the Sloan shit bag? I mean,
that's funny.
You could go where you want to go, and then you have your portable debate
Exactly.
the day after. Because sometimes
Exactly.
the paper towel taped to the Sloan shit bag just isn't enough. But
Why is Twitter not letting me see messages?
now Dune writes in, I'm sorry, I just totally Brian blocked your story. Is that what we're calling it now? That's okay. Anyways, so the point is that Adrian Cousins with his YouTube channel posts these amazing results in this process, and so I had familiarized myself a bit in the past of what a reversal film developing process is and what the steps are, and basically it's you do your first developer, and then you have to do a bleach bath. I mean, you got to wash in between steps, but first developer, bleach bath. And at that point, after the bleaching, you can take it out of the tank, and it can be in light at that point. And then you do a second exposure to a light source for a period of time. And then you do a second developer, and then you fix it, you wash it, you dry it, you spool it, and you watch it. Problem, Brian?
Oh, I'm just on Twitter trying to get in, and because I was in Twitmo last week.
Okay.
The account's been reactivated, but I can't seem to get into it properly here.
So I decided I was going to try Adrian Cousins' film reversal process with the role I shot at the beach. When I was.
It's actually really cool.
That's one way to look at it. That's actually.
No, it is.
I've actually
it's very artistic.
Very artistic.
I follow people that use vintage lenses,
Mm-hmm.
and one guy took the lens from a Brownie camera.
Yeah.
Mounted it so it could he could use it on his digital SLR. I mean, the Brownie camera had a very simple lens, right?
It was plastic, wasn't it, on the outside?
Uh,
Not the
yeah.
lens part, but the little cover thing was just plastic. I remember the brownies.
Yeah, but the lens was glass though.
Oh.
So they took out the glass and they mounted it in such a way to put it on a modern digital camera.
Huh.
And he had to experiment to get the focus right.
That'd
It's
be
not
like-
focusable.
Your DSLR would look like a freaking laser cannon because the thing would probably go down into a little point area, Because that thing, it was like, dude, what are you shooting me with? Just no.
No, actually, it looked good, and he said it was the full frame,
Nice.
basically
Nice.
the full frame of the lens.
So
So it's actually
ahead.
pretty cool.
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Gabe.
Mike.
No. I was to say about your chroma key stuff that you were working with.
my
Your
chroma
reversal.
key stuff, my
Yeah.
Kodachrome reversal.
Yeah.
Yes. So I took the roll and I loaded it into my Lomo tank because I now have one of my Russian Lomo tanks for Super 8 development. And after I did now it is nerve-wracking. I was not fully prepared for this. For one thing, the bleaching bath for this process involves mixing hydrogen peroxide and glacial acetic acid. And acid is not something to handle lightly.
What kind of acid was it?
Glacial acetic acid.
Oh,
So, and Amazon will let any idiot buy a big jug of this thing, and they deliver it right to that
Oh.
idiot's house.
I
And,
wonder how. Does it burn through things?
I did not find
Is this
out.
good as sulfuric?
I probably. This is probably some good stuff. It certainly is very stanky, and I probably should put on a respirator.
Let
for
me
this
let
stuff,
me
but I
just
opened the
answer
windows.
Sparky Toaster really quick.
Okay.
He goes, "Was the aperture adjustable on the Brownie, or was not?" He says it was not. That's correct. It was not adjustable. So, and it didn't look like he was working that into the deal. I didn't ask him about aperture.
I just want to know if I could burn stuff.
Okay.
Burn things with this acid.
Anyways,
But I do like this acid story. Continue.
So I got a big jug of glacial acetic acid, and the thing about it is that the recipe calls for diluting 28 milliliters of glacial acetic acid into about a liter of hydrogen peroxide of a 9% strength. Of course, the hydrogen
Ooh,
peroxide.
did it bubble?
No, it didn't bubble.
Oh, that's no fun.
Of course, the hydrogen peroxide that Amazon sells is 12% strength, so I had to water that down to 9%, and then I had to measure out 28
Holy crap! What did you pay for this shit?
like
Probably $38.
probably like $20 a jug of this stuff. I mean,
Oh, the sponsored one goes for $54 for a gallon.
let me take a look at what I bought and what I paid. I
I said $38. We should do a poll.
Oh, here's another. Oh no, that's 5 gallons.
We should do a poll.
176
What-
gallons.
We're gonna be analog though. Everybody just type it in chat because there aren't that many people.
Okay, you're right. Actually, I did pay a bit for this. I did pay $55 for
Oh.
the glacials. I basically I bought a bunch of
Unbelievable.
chemicals,
Darn it.
and it totaled up to like $200 for all these chemicals. But it's enough to mix up
Sorry,
a
you
whole
guys,
bunch of
no poll.
batches. What's that?
I said sorry, you guys. No poll. We were gonna do, but oh well. You told
Yeah,
us $200.
no.
You say you paid $200 for acid and other stuff?
Well, $50 for the acid, $30 for the hydrogen peroxide. Plus, I bought a bunch of other chemicals that sodium hydroxide,
Ooh, that stuff's fun.
potassium bromide, potassium iodide,
Ooh, that's some bromide.
potassium thiosinate, and then of course I had to get some chemical storage bottles. Now, I have vials to measure out milliliters. A big ass jug with a big ass opening is not exactly the best thing for pouring out into little like narrow vials to measure out 28
No,
milliliters.
you want the Bunsen, the Bunsen containers, the little
I
Pyrex
think
ones.
what I want is an eyedropper. I think is what I want, but not for the eyes, because a dropper, a liquid
How about a
dropper.
very long dropper?
Yes. So actually, I did manage to pour a portion of the acidic acid into one of my larger beakers, and then pour that down into the smaller beaker and
You use a
measure out
turkey baster.
28.
You have a turkey baster?
Well, I don't have a turkey baster, but I did order a dropper that is going to be arriving Thursday, so that my next time I do this, I will be able to better measure these things out. And I also ordered protective eye goggles. wait, you mean you did this the first time without protective eye goggles? Let's not talk
Oh
about
yeah,
that.
big deal.
I knew I wasn't going to splash it on my face because what kind of idiot do you take me for? The type of idiot that would play with
And
acid
of course,
without
you don't have an
protective
iRent
goggles.
station in your basement, so.
And I donned a nice set of pink rubber gloves that are good for doing dishes. I'm sure that can be fine with the acidic. That would buy me at least a half a second before it burns through. So I was all set.
Right.
No, I have since ordered better gloves, better goggles, and a better dropper, and I am not going to go.
You get
at
one of those
this.
big rubber smocks or something you can put over your chest so the acid doesn't, burn through your chest.
No, that's what the Tharco shirt's for.
Oh, okay, that works. That works.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you mixed all these chemicals together and nothing exploded.
No, I did not stream this one. But Sparky Toaster probably did watch me another time I did this. Was I in a front row seat for this video Johnny's about to show? Was this when I helped Johnny out measuring the chemicals of I use measuring spoons? Now, Dune writes in Lomo, light obscuring magnum Orpheus. That might be right. Anyways, once
Magnum Orpheus?
Dune, hey Dune.
So once I opened up the Lomo tank, I found that, mind you, I loaded the film onto the spiral in a film bag because it had to be completely dark, so I couldn't see what I was doing. So I think Mars would be at an advantage. With
I would
this
have been
hobby.
fine with it because I used
You
to
would
do
have
that
been
all
fine
the time.
with that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
used to do it all the time. It's fine.
Yeah.
Well,
It-
practice makes perfect, right?
Yeah.
So what happened was at some point the film got off of the spiral track and just kind of started clumping around the spiral, and I just keep pulling the thing, and so that's why about the first minute of this movie is just a mess of film that has had various levels of chemicals that did or did not make contact with it as it was rubbing up against itself in the tank. So here we go. We're gonna roll this, and those first like 5 frames make you feel like you might actually have something here, and then this happens.
Oh, hang on a second. I'm watching the ad as I'm getting into Twitter and into the stream on Twitch.
Uh-huh.
I can't even figure out what this is. Oh,
So this is
crap! I just missed the the cut off the ad right at the thing. I think it was some kind of a vodka.
So as you see now here's the thing. A lot of these parts like were come out, but then you got all these white spots over it, and I've been struggling to figure out what that is. And then this is a mess again. But you could see some ocean and some
There are
waves.
actually enough clips to that's why you need the right soundtrack. Boom.
Now Dune made a suggestion for a soundtrack that would go good with this.
Yeah.
And we'll have to try. Here's Dune's soundtrack. I think that works.
Yeah.
I would either edit it so you get some rhythm to it.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna go with goat screams, we may as well go with this.
Oh, that actually looks good. And what is that from?
Now that's a Game of Goats. That's the Game of Thrones put to the sounds of goat screams. That right there is Sir Mars's favorite ringtone.
No, it's not. No, it was not. I was like, what is going on? What is this?
One time, Kristen and I were like, "Hey, let's go out. Let's grab some dinner. Let's bring Mars." And we go out.
It was a great video that I just watched yesterday, I think. It was Praying Mantis versus Murder Hornet, right? And you see this fight, and in the back from the audio clip, they use the commentary of the Tyson versus Holyfield, where Tyson bites Holyfield's ear.
Right.
It's hilarious. And the thing is, guess who wins? The Praying Mantis or the Murder Hornet?
The Murder Hornet.
Pikachu.
Absolutely not.
Pikachu.
Oh,
The
Okay.
praying mantis starts biting at the ear, or where you would think would be an
of
ear.
course. So
And
Well,
then continues.
hashtag no spoilers.
Well, I unfortunately I don't know where to get it to share it with you.
Okay, that
You could go through
Life-
all my tweets and
life
see.
will
I
go
may
on.
have retweeted it.
I'm sure we can live without that. But anyways,
No,
Uh,
it's actually funny.
so Mars and I and Kristen, we go out for dinner, and it's like, hey, let's go pick up something from Fry's, and we go to Fry's, and while we're there, Kristen gets a phone call, and Kristen had set the Game of Goats sound that we just played there as her ringtone, and Mars reacted with a "What the heck is that?" with all these goat screams coming from the phone.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a good ringtone.
Oh dear.
All right,
I mean,
all right.
you see these old farts that have the traditional telephone, ding, 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 mechanical ringer as their cell phone. Like, okay, you dork.
Yeah, well,
You're a phone dork.
that's what my dad uses. But
See? Nailed.
apparently he didn't think of a revving SD455 engine, or he just
Exactly. What's wrong with him?
You should just
Now-
steal
now,
his phone and
the-
change it
the
one of these
band-
days.
The band that I was in, that guy Joe, his was the old telephone ring.
right.
Well, he was a telephone nerd. he
Oh,
worked for the
poor
phone company.
dude.
He did. He absolutely did. Now Dune never got to go to a Fry's. Now here's so anyways, the thing is, on the one hand,
Hey, Dune, do you have Micro Center in your area?
now
Good.
Dune asked a question, does the reel require you to pinch it so it goes on the spool? No, it doesn't work that way. It's basically you start threading the beginning of the spiral, and then you put the top portion once you've threaded, and you screw it with this like spindle that spins the whole thing. And basically you want to angle your film a little bit, and it pulls it on there and stays threaded in the track in theory. But sometimes something will slip over, or something will not grab the right place, or it's I actually figured out how to do it better, because I was trying to thread it directly onto the platter from the film cartridge, but I found it actually gives you a little bit more control and easier if you transfer the film from the cartridge onto a reel, and then transfer it from a reel to the spiral. And so I actually had better luck with that with another attempt I made. It's just that film was bad and came out completely dark. But we won't talk about that one because there's nothing to show
Oops.
there but black. And I'm not entirely sure what. But anyways, this
By the
one
way,
here,
where are you obtaining your film?
eBay. Dude, I don't know what I'm doing.
No, that's fine.
Good
Have you
film.
Have you looked at Amazon for something that's not
Good
some
film
used
is for
crap that
people
was
that know what
stored
they're
in the
doing.
attic?
Good film is for people that know what
Well,
they're
I mean,
doing.
which is why it's good that
I'm
you're.
shooting garbage.
I'm hoping that you didn't pay that you paid less than $50 for the film.
I never pay more than $10 for a roll of film.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the
Now-
Amazon will be
Yeah.
more expensive.
Now, Dune,
but-
what you're describing about is the typical 35 millimeter thing, but those are much shorter spools of film. This is a spiral that's got to hold 50 feet film, and it also has to be able to accommodate an 8 millimeter thickness. They didn't make tanks like that in the United States. The Russians got into that stuff. Anyways, if you look, that's where these tanks come from, Russia. I actually had to import this from. I think my tank may have came from Ukraine before the shit hit the fan. I had to check eBay where it shipped from again, but I bought this Russian tank off of eBay and imported it, and
well, and then the
that was
thing
also
is,
not
if this
cheap.
was made earlier, which is probably it is,
this is
it
big.
might have been actually the USSR.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just that, in fact, is there a location marked on it?
I don't know. I don't think mine didn't come in the original box with the original instructions.
But it wasn't stamped on it.
No. But I was gonna. Where's the search for orders? Can I search my orders? Let's see.
Yeah, go up to the top, go to your the drop down. You'll see orders. You can click on that.
Oh, here we go. I actually paid $190 for mine. Yeah, these Lomo tanks not cheap. And let's see if it says in the order details where it shipped from. Sold by that username. Based in Russian Federation. Okay, so it came from Russia.
Yeah.
So I probably couldn't buy that from that seller now. I don't know what eBay's policy is on those. So anyways, so I got the tank, and now I've.
Yeah, that's actually interesting. I wonder if they did kick off all the Russians that were selling.
Yeah, and that's a completely different topic. But so after I processed it, I mean, there's a few things going on here. One, all this early mess from a bad Lomo loading. I can fix that by getting better at loading the Lomo tank. Two, some shots actually came out and show that, like, yes, this process works. I followed the steps and I got results that show picture. But on the other hand, I got a bunch of pictures that have all these white dots on them, making people look energized. And so I kind of want to know.
Super Saiyan Gators. That's what happens.
I'm like, what happened? What did I get wrong? What did I do wrong? So I want to come up with a theory of what I did wrong before I try this again. And so I reached out. I went looking for a Facebook group, and I found that there is a Facebook Super 8mm group. And so I posted a link to the movie and a few still shots of the movie explaining who I am, what I'm doing, my lack of experience or expertise or knowledge or caring about actually being good at this, and the replies I got are quite humorous to start with. The first reply that I got was, this special effect is real cool. If you want it like this, you will not manage it. So basically a guy that's like, I couldn't do that if I tried. I think is what that translates to. Like if you wanted the movie to look like this, you would never be able to make it happen. So I took that as, oh, you're saying I should try to make it like that and that it will never come out like that. Got it. And then I had my second reply. I have never seen this white spots effect anywhere ever before, and I have developed many kilometers of Super 8 at home in the last 25 years. I admit I am super envious of the effect and really hope you can share how you achieve this. I'm dying to get this effect too. I'm not sure that person saw the whole reel, but what's really cool is Adrian Cousins, the guy who actually posted the recipe for the formulas for these chemicals, is also a member of this group and saw my plea for help. And so he himself chimed in on what he thinks happened. And so this is probably the guy that would know the most, being that he's the guy that developed this process.
So what did he say?
Looks like the result of blistering from the peroxide bleach. If it's too active, too warm, or not enough acidic acid, the reaction is too violent. Lots of bubbles are created in the emulsion, which then become holes, which can manifest as bright dots when projected. Blistering can also lead to dark spots on the film, too. I'd examine the surface of the film to see if it's rough or smooth in the areas that had the white dot effect. Did it fizz in the bleach? It could also be down to remjet masking some areas when you did the re-exposure, so these masked areas would not develop in the second dev and then be fixed out, leaving a white area. But these would have been visible in your first screen.
Or if you didn't dilute your peroxide enough.
Right. Now the thing is, I'm fairly certain that I put the right amount of acidic acid into the right amount of peroxide. But one thing is that he listed the temperature that he tends to do the bleaching at as 23.5 to 24.5 degrees Celsius. And I looked up what 24.5 degrees Celsius is, and embarrassingly, I have to do that again. And that comes out to 76 degrees Fahrenheit. So really, you don't want to bleach warmer than 76 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, it was probably about 78 to 80 degrees in the house when I was doing the development. So I figured 76 degrees, 78 degrees, ambient temperature, close enough, bleach, 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 bleach. So I bleached it a little too warm.
Do you do it in the basement?
No. I don't have a utility sink in the basement. I should put one in, but I'd have to clean it up. I do it in the kitchen, and I clean thoroughly when I'm done.
Oh, goodness. That would be a good addition for your basement as much as you do stuff. I think it'd be awesome.
Well, I don't know how. I mean, I did it 6 months ago. I'm doing it again now, which also is bad because I do it sporadically, and chemicals go bad over 6 months. Mm-hmm. So I need to find a way to do more bigger bursts.
Fuck.
Well, I mean,
no. A different topic. I was looking at.
You don't have to.
Film processing tanks. Okay.
Okay.
I found one in the UK.
Uh-huh.
Looks wonderful. 4 Super 8 and 16 millimeter.
Okay. And they're
€14.99.
1,499.
I think the euro and the dollar is kind of on par right now.
Right. Well, you're talking about like professional or semi-pro type of equipment. I mean, I do know there's a different type of
just a fucking tank.
Right, but it's
well, there is
it's a piece of equipment.
There is some kind of a plug.
So under $200 for something from Russia is quite kind of a bargain.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this was just the first place I looked, and I go, wow.
So the thing is though is that the film is smooth. I'm not getting a roughness or a bumpness like it, but I did. So I admit I copped to him that.
Oh, you'll love this. There's a guy that I'm just Googling. Inexpensive Super 8 home processing tank made from PVC drain pipes.
Oh, there you go.
That's also good if you just want to shoot the film out across the highway.
You know what? You want to do that. What you do, you just spray. You cap one end, spray it with some brake cleaner.
Oh, no. That's
and you
more
light a match.
complicated than this. What you need is 65 feet, 20 meters, of clothesline, specially, ideally slightly structured. Best without the steel core.
Sparky
2
Toaster.
PVC drain pipes. In Europe, the standard diameter is 75 millimeter, about 3 inches.
So Sparky Toaster wins the show.
Sparky.
Johnny's film developing skills are the same as Brian's green screen skills.
Yeah, don't you like that over there?
We have the same effect going. You know what?
Exactly. See, that's why I like it, right? That's
there
normal.
We go. And Dune pulled up a video on the Lomo tank loading process. You got to do that in the dark. Or let me tell you, it would be a million times easier if I could do this if I had a true dark room. But I don't.
Okay, hang on a second.
It's a big ass tank, and putting it in a film change bag is just very cumbersome.
You have the film still, correct? You didn't scan it and then throw it away.
Yeah, I still had the film. Yeah.
Yeah. So now you have something to practice with.
Practice what?
So practice loading. You take that film, even it's already developed,
Brian,
and install it load it to the tank.
Do you think I've not been practicing?
That was obvious from the results.
Well, I you know what? I've practiced a few times, and I got it right a few times, and then I had, I'm still early in the process. I'm still building some skills. So this was one of those early attempts that went bad. But no, I actually took when I went to high school, I didn't steal anything. But I may have found some Super 8 movies of some basketball games from the 70s that I decided to borrow for a really long time. And I'm totally going to give them back someday. But that was a perfect piece of film to practice loading and unloading because it really doesn't damage the film.
Okay, all right. So you did practice.
Yeah, I did.
And so that suggests that the problem was based on what your commenter said.
Yeah, I think I got the
Right.
bleaching step wrong, because I also then remembered he said that it looks like it could be from the bleach being too warm, which it was warm. The ambient temperature of the house was warmer than his recommended temperature, so I should have chilled the bleach a few degrees, and then also
Or you just set the jars of bleach and the other chemicals in the basement. You could bring it upstairs when it's needed,
it's
use it. It would be at a cooler temperature,
not that
and
much.
you'd be fine.
Well, you know what? I got to control the temperature, and so I gotta chill it down to cooler than I need it, and then bring it up to where I need it.
Yeah.
And because when I need it to be warmer, and it depends what direction you need to go. Anyways,
Yeah.
the
But typically your
the
basement would be
other
cooler.
mistake I made, to get a word in edgewise,
Yeah.
is I didn't do what I should have done, which was to watch another basic video on how to do this before doing the process. Because I've watched a lot of reversal clips in the past, and then
Right.
I thought, oh, I remember how to do all this. And then when I went to do it, the only thing I brought up was Adrian Cousins' list of chemical ingredients and mixtures and all that.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have, and so I treated the bleaching step the same as you would a development step as far as agitation, meaning I only agitated it in the bleach once every minute. And the bleach step, you're supposed to constantly agitate. So I let it sit in the bleach, which was too hot, which may have formed bubbles that cause these dots. So I think those are a combination of those two mistakes, or one of those two mistakes. Probably too warm of a bleach, not proper agitation. So
So what I would suggest, watch it again
mhm.
with all the details.
Right.
And
No, I've got
write
that.
a script.
Yeah. I'm gonna
So,
take better
yeah,
notes next time.
Bleach, the length of the thing, the temperature, the amount of agitation.
Right. I'm gonna take better notes next time.
I would take notes on the computer so then you can adjust it. Right?
Well,
You go, yeah, that wasn't really accurate or enough information.
Don't worry,
Well,
add it
Gators.
to
The
it.
bleach will help the keyboard on your laptop.
a
It'll be
note
fine.
card takes up
Exactly.
less counter space than a laptop computer, but yeah, and then I could type my notes.
Well,
afterwards.
I would complete the thing and then print it out. Use some paper.
Wait,
Who-
do people
who-
have printers?
Who has a printer anymore?
I have a printer. I use it now and then.
And
Now,
it's-
there's a lot of people that have a printer because they have to print off every damn thing. Every email they print out, other than spam.
You know, I have a good reason for not having a printer anymore, because here's what happened.
You're a cheap ass.
I got to college, right?
Yeah.
I discovered internet porn, right?
Did you
Uh-oh.
print out internet porn on a dot matrix?
And the first thing I was like is, oh my God, these pictures are great. I'm going to want to watch these, look at these later. And so I printed out about 50 of my favorite porn pictures, and
Oh.
and I filed them in a folder, and I filed the folder in the back of my desk drawer, and then I never pulled that folder out again or looked at them again. Why? Because, oh my God, there's so much porn on the internet. Who would ever need to print something to look at the same picture twice?
What if your power goes out?
So-
what are you supposed
so-
to do? You always need an analog source, Gators, if you think about it.
You know, I didn't lose power any that year. And so I filed the folder in the back of the desk drawer, and I completely forgot about it. I ceased to I ceased to remember it even existed. I was only reminded of the existence of this folder on the last day of college, when I run out to use the restroom, and I come back to my room, and we finished loading the room into the car because my dad came to pick me up, and the car is all
Yep.
loaded, everything is packed. I go to use the restroom. I come back from the restroom, and there in my dad's hand is a green folder.
And
Oh,
he's checking out the porn.
He's
Yeah.
like, oh. Oh.
And
Is that when he also discovered the sock?
I
Was the sock
I cannot
the
confirm
bookmark?
or deny.
Was the sock the bookmark? That's the
I
question.
could neither confirm nor deny that there was a sock next to the folder, but but I stopped holding my tracks and I said, "Oh, I forgot about that. That's some and so I said, "I'll take care of that." And Dad didn't say, "I saw this," or "Oh, that's what you're up to," or "Why you?"
He didn't say.
Here's your green folder.
My dad asked me a simple question. What is that? And I said, "Oh, it's just some school papers. I'll go throw them out."
That's right. It was the class that you were taking.
Yeah, which class were
Yes.
you taking?
It was
That's the
it was an
question.
art class on the art of fellatio.
Yeah. God. Yeah.
So dude writes in, "OM gosh." Yeah, that was one of the worst. That was one of the worst moments of my life. Was walking into the dorm room and there's that green folder in
You know
my
what?
dad's hand.
At least he wasn't saying, "Yeah, I like page 8 the best." You know, I'm just.
Idiot! How could I leave that there? Because
Okay,
my dad
so-
was being diligent to make sure that everything was empty before we
You know
leave,
he
and I didn't
opened
forget
it.
anything.
You know
He
he
was-
opened it. You
I'm-
know he opened it. And
I'm
looked at it.
pretty sure he opened it, but I'm glad he left me that little bit of doubt that like he didn't
He's
tell
like,
me.
dude,
Right.
I wouldn't want my dad to find this. I'm not saying a word.
It's just kind of like
No.
we'll never know. I'll never know if my dad knew that my pants were down around my ankle that time he walked in the room and I'm sitting behind the desk. We'll just never know.
You know what? One day he'll call you up. Remember that time? Yeah, I caught you.
I totally knew your pants were down around your
Yeah.
ankles.
Yeah.
Because then he handed me the computer cord and wanted me to stand up to grab it. And I said, "Why don't you just toss that over here?" And I think that was maybe what may have given up the Sparky.
So, are you familiar with the composer with the last name of Richter?
Richter.
Andy?
I don't remember the name. Sorry.
I don't know.
1858 or who knows. Anyway, so there's this
1858
composer
Richter.
named Richter, right? And a friend of mine had posted that on Facebook, about this guy, blah blah blah. And I said, "Oh, not this Richter," and posted the Wikipedia article on the Richter who developed the Richter scale for earthquakes, right?
Yeah.
Not the
Okay.
same guy. This guy was born and lived later.
Well, there's a Max
But-
Richter.
but- What? Oh,
Max
musician.
Richter is a British composer and pianist, born 1966.
No, not that one then.
Not that. one.
Anyway, so as I was reading the article, there's some personal thing, and this guy Richter that invented the earthquake scale,
The earthquake.
and his
scale.
wife were avid naturists
Okay.
and would visit nudist colonies.
Well, that's a good hobby. Everyone needs a hobby.
Yeah, sure, right. Yeah, that's right. What do you do on your time off? Oh, yes, I do. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Let's see. Johanna Richter.
That might have been it.
Let's see. Johanna Richter's subsequent career was far from insignificant. This is a she. And I think this person knew Mahler because this is on the
Yeah.
Mahler Foundation website. Okay, so there's Hans
okay.
Richter, who is Austro-Hungarian conductor, born into a musical family. Usually musical families try to discourage their kids from pursuing music because, no, trust me, you don't want this. But
Well, not the Wooten family.
I think
Victor Wooten and his siblings—they're all musicians,
I think the
and they're
Bach,
damn good.
I think the Bach family tried to discourage their offsprings from pursuing music.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't. Well, I heard that in passing somewhere, so I don't know how. I read on the internet. It must be true.
It must be true. Yeah.
Mod Pro comes into the room while I talk about college porn.
Yeah.
So that's great. That's
Sorry, Mod Pro.
Hey, Mod Pro.
I gotta tell you though, one of the most bizarre moments of my college life was I still don't get this because to me, porn viewing's a private one-person event. You know, I suppose a couple could watch it together to get ideas or get in the mood, but bunch of college dudes watching porn together, that's I don't.
Well, but that's the whole thing of a stag film.
But why?
You know, at a bachelor party.
Oh,
For
okay.
shits and giggles.
For shits and giggles.
If you're into that kind of thing.
No.
I'm not into the same types of shits and giggles you're into, apparently.
No,
Right,
I'm not
yeah.
into that either.
I don't want to know
No,
what
actually,
college you went to, sir. Just, you know.
Well, because here's the thing. There was a website called cybererotica.com. And like many websites, they offered
this Twitch channel doesn't condone going there just in case, and Twitch don't shut you down. Thank you.
I don't know if the site still exists or not. I know
Oh,
at
it
some
probably does.
point
It's a name like that, it's probably still around.
I'm pretty sure. Well, it's probably not the same site it was. Certainly isn't the same site it was. But
Okay, let's do a poll of the people in the chat. How many
Okay.
people are counting their number of churros in the box?
okay, let's get a poll. Do you want to count Cheerios, or do you want me to finish
Fruit
the
Loops.
cyber erotica story?
Oh no, let's continue with the story. I just
Okay, all right.
so far there seems to be no interest in not continuing.
Okay,
You know, we
so
got to poll our listeners because
so
they're valuable to us.
most websites had like a free week trial. And that was, you know, when you have
Right.
a million porn sites, all of them will give you a week for free. There's no reason you ever have to actually pay for access to a porn site. And Sparky Toaster is not counting right now. So I think he approves of the show so far. So,
Yeah.
anyways, so what I would, but here was the catch. Because the catch is, in order to sign up for a porn site for the free trial, you have to give your credit card number and sign up for a membership that will automatically renew you to a monthly subscription after the end of the
Right.
week trial, and you have to cancel the subscription before the week runs out. And so typically I would write down the date of the membership expiring on a marker board to keep track of all of these. And I knew that I had come up with a not very original idea when I was hanging out over in Mike Mann's room, and I happened to notice a bunch of porn sites written on his marker board calendar indicating the date that he needed to. And I'm like, wow, I see you got the same system as I do. So anyways, the system worked
So
great.
did he admit that you were the originator of the idea, and because he saw your list
I think we both agreed that we both originated the idea and
independently?
and we shared sites that had good sales going on that week, or good deals.
Now, was your credit card information available online? Because today you can go and pull up your credit card, you know, almost any credit card, and look at current activity.
If you're cringing at this story, you should be, and this is a cautionary tale because
Yes.
I did have to file claims, have funds returned, pay bounce check fees, and repay for things because of fraud activity that occurred on my card at one point in time. The biggest problem with that, though, was that the bank had to cancel the card, issue a new card, and they canceled the card once they detected the fraud, leaving me unable to pay for the tank of gas I pumped into my car on a return trip to
Oops.
college, leaving me making a very awkward phone call to Gothard. Hey, dude, I'm at the gas station and I need some cash. And I woke up his roommate. Hello, Gators, is that you? So
That's hilarious.
And so he drove out to the gas station to lend me some cash, and I paid him back. But Sparky Toaster's got the bag out. So the point
So how
is,
much money have you? How much money were you in the lurch for?
See, that's I think this happened twice in 4 years.
Oh.
And I've since stopped signing up for free trials of porn sites with But one time I actually did have a check bounce. So I had that bounce, but I think the bounce check fee was reversed because once it was determined that it was fraudulent transaction that overdrew me. The thing is that the person who tried to deposit my bad check also got a fee, and he rightfully requested that I not only cover the payment that I owed him, but that I cover the fee that his bank charged him. And I paid him that. And I talked to the bank about that. The bank says, well, you'd have to get some kind of documents from and so it's like $15 fee. Have this guy who I inconvenienced him more to give me evidence so I can get reimbursed.
Do you remember the amount of money that the gas cost?
I believe that Scott loaned me a 20. So
right. Okay.
That's the sad part of this story. That
and how much did you pay in your last tank of gas?
Wow.
Moving right along.
No,
you don't want to talk about the price of gas.
It was under $100. I'll tell you that.
Hey, all right. Hey,
it was $99.95.
Both tanks I did this past week were under $100.
I ran that tank down, and I think I paid something like $60-something to fill it up. So, but I don't drive that much. Anyways,
so just again, just curious.
So back to the Cyber Erotica site. So I signed up for the free trial of Cyber Erotica. I canceled it before the week was up. And what I always did was I always tested my logon after canceling to A, see if they goofed up and I had access to free porn, and B, see if I needed to get on top of them to make sure that the cancellation went through and verify that they don't charge me when the date passes. So the Cyber Erotica username and password still worked after I canceled. So I start looking in my bank statements and checking everything, and my balance doesn't drop. They don't take anything out, and I check the next month and the next month. Cyber Erotica never billed me a thing, but they never deactivated my account. For at least 5 years, I had free access to this site. And so junior year, I mentioned to my roommate, Cyber Erotica never turned off my account. I got a free account to Cyber Erotica. They never deactivate after the free trial. And he's like, oh, we should watch it sometime. And I'm like, why? Like, dude, I'll just give you the password. When I'm not here.
You be on your own. Yeah.
And so one night, Jim, my roommate, and one of his friends, Joe, comes in hanging out. And Jim's like, hey, why don't you bring up that porn site you're telling us about? And right. And I pull it up, and now mind you, what I did do was I went to the more humorous clips because at least that's something that's entertaining. But still, to me, that was still my most bizarre moment in college. 3 dudes sitting in front of a computer just watching porn together, and I'm like, dude, could you guys leave me alone with the computer? I'm like ready to, I'm not going to stand up and walk around right now, and neither were they. A dude writes in.
I wonder if he copy pasted that or just typed it all out.
No. So nothing happened. It was basically we just sat and watched a few videos, and I still never understood why anyone thought that was a good idea. Like, what could we do about it? We're not gonna whip it out and jack it with each other, Yeah.
We're
just,
yeah.
So, thank you, dude, for your commentary on that story. At some point, my login to Cyber Erotica stopped working, and that was a sad day for all. I guess I could test it to see if it, at some point got turned back on, but I doubt it.
Are they still
around?
around?
You don't need a free site anymore? Can't you just Bing it?
No. Well, let's see. Cyber Erotica is still a site. This website is intended for adults only. Contains adult nudity. Only enter if you're at least 18 years of. Okay, click enter. All right.
Now I hope you're not sharing the screen, Gators.
The site has a very different design, but they still have the same tagline: where fantasy meets reality. So this site is still some kind of a holdover it may have changed ownership or whatever, but they kept the same tagline.
Yeah.
All right, log in. Let's see, username. All right, and what was my
If you can
password?
remember.
I actually do remember my username and password that I set up for this.
I can't really use their password I set up last week. I'm impressed.
Exactly.
Well, I mean,
Well, he do, when you do it a lot, you remember it, right?
well, the thing is that usernames could be 4 letters long, and I had a 4-letter long username to this website, and
Was
I
it
said,
porn?
"What's that?"
Was the answer porn?
No, it did not let me log in. So no, I actually used for the username JRFG. I threw an
there you
extra
go.
letter in the middle of my initials, and then the password was all lowercase, and I basically all right. You know what? I never use this again anywhere, so I'll just say it. The password was all lowercase JTTAAB. Why? Because I was listening to Jethro Tull's "Thick as a Brick" at the time that I set up the account.
Oh, hey.
Oh my god! You know, that's kind
See,
of
now,
brilliant.
now you just gave away a good password. You'll never be able to use
You
that
can
again.
never use that as a password anymore. All lowercase, only
Well,
letters.
you would change a few cases and throw in a little number and an exclamation
Well,
point.
you
or
can do
something.
that with any abbreviation. In fact, they say that like taking a movie quote and using the first letter of each word in the movie quote will give you a string of characters that you could use that's easy to remember. That's
Sure.
kind of random. Although I think they say that using 3 words back to back, all lowercase, is more secure than this 8 characters mixture of uppercase, lowercase, at least one number, at least one non-alphanumeric character bullshit. Because we all know we're picking a word, we're capitalizing the first letter, we're putting a number at the end, and we're changing that number every time we change a password, and we're putting it on a sticky note that we're keeping under our keyboard, where we just cross out the number and write the next number afterwards.
Right.
Oh.
Because that's super secure.
What about the sticky notes app on Windows? Does that work better? Is that okay?
That's
Is
okay.
that secure?
Now, Brian had an interesting reaction to the story. Oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my. Now,
Not as lengthy as Dunes.
Yeah.
now, Sparky writes in, how does several dudes sit around watching the same porn if not everyone likes the same kind of porn?
Well, but that's what a stud party is all about.
I don't know.
I don't know about those, so
I think if a bunch of dudes are sitting around watching a porn, chances are they all like the same kind of porn. But that was not the...
Well, I mean, and that's usually determined by the guy that's throwing the party. That's usually a bachelor party. Kind
That was
of
a
thing.
little bit of a tasteless joke right there.
course.
But no, but I will say,
But on the other hand, nobody is counting Cheerios.
no, and I've told the story many times to this day. I still remember there was a very weird clip on there that was under the category weird. That I brought it up, and it has this like leather-clad dominatrix woman holding a riding crop. It looks at the camera and says, "You've been a bad, bad bunny." And then it cuts to this guy in a bunny suit, and she proceeds to like whip him with the riding crop while making him hop down the hallway, and then it cuts to this like guy that's supposed to be like a teenager next door watching this out his window, and he's there with the binoculars looking out the window, rubbing his crotch, and the mother knocks on the door and is like, "Honey, I'm worried about you. What are you doing in here? Go away, Mom, I'm doing homework." And
Are you kidding? Are you kidding? If someone walked in the room, I'd be like, Mom, you want to see what our neighbors are doing? Look.
look,
Seriously, my mom would look at them like, dude, we got some screwed up neighbors.
hey Mom, come look at this. This guy's
Yeah.
been a bad, bad bunny.
Yeah. They'd be like, my mom would be like, dude, there's some sick people who crying. Damn.
And from that point, it got a little more normal because, she kind of, whips the guy with the riding crop a little bit while he hops around, gets him in the bedroom, gets him to take off his clothes, and then they get in the bed and start doing stuff. And that was pretty tame from that point forward. So really, it was only about 5 minutes of entertaining material before it just devolved into standard porn. So that's this week's Porno Informo.
Wow.
This week's Porno Informo, that weird bunny bondage clip on Cyber Erotica that I have no idea what the name of it was and you'll never be able to find. I give it 6 out of 10 stars.
You might be able to find that if you Google it somewhere here and there. You have to do some looking, but you might find it.
Believe me, I've tried.
Okay.
And Brian writes in, Bob, it's sex education. I'm sorry I cut you off earlier. You can chime in with the jokes now. Sparky Toaster likes the password of DYFLP. Do you feel lucky, punk?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Excellent.
But yeah, the other porn I really wish I could find, and I've told the story enough times that everyone should remember it. The alien with the big green nose that turns into a floating penis. If anyone ever finds that.
Well, it won't be me because I'm not gonna be looking, but
but you might know a guy.
Does the character have a name?
No, it was just it started off as like taking place on the scene of a porn studio, which was original setting for porn. Like they show like the guy calling action and lights, sound, camera, action, and it was a solo scene with a female pleasuring herself. And I realize I'm doing finger motions here while describing this, and I don't know if that's Twitch approved but
I don't know if that's anybody approved, honestly. But
I don't even know if this is accurate. So she's working the fingers and all that. And
last week I got sent to Twitmo for 12 hours in Twitter.
There you go. So I mean, every now and then they cut to the director who's like because. Why not? Because when you're watching a girl pleasure herself and getting off on that, you want the camera to every now and then cut to a creepy looking bearded guy holding a clipboard. That's that. and then at some point they cut to a animated UFO with a little green man in it who has his TV screen dialed up that is tapping into the feed of this porno scene that's being shot. So I guess the premise being that they're shooting a porno scene that's broadcasting, and aliens from outer space are able to intercept the signal, because that makes perfect sense. And of course this little green alien,
the last thing they watched was the Lucy show, so hey, that's next.
And this little green alien has a rather conveniently large shaped nose. So at some point the UFO works its way to triangulate onto the signal, and the little green alien's watching this, and his nose is getting bigger and bigger. I think he's rubbing his nose, and the little green alien eventually just turns into a floating green penis, which then floats into the scene, and they actually animate this floating animated penis on top of the live action girl masturbating herself. They actually have the green floating penis penetrating the girl while she's pleasuring herself, and fun was had by all. And when I went away to college,
across the universe,
when I went away to college, I threw all that stuff away because I didn't want anyone finding it in my room while I was gone. And I didn't want anyone finding it when unpacking stuff in my room, moving into the dorm, because my parents are going to help me move it. I just was like, it's not worth the risk. I'm just going to toss it out. When will I ever want this again anyways? It was such a weird thing. I didn't even get off watching it. But damn, was that funny. And damn, I wish I could find that again. Now, Sparky Toaster writes in, excuse me while I go do a couple reps with my dumbbells. Still listening, though. Well, it's not counting Cheerios.
Yeah, hey.
But dude writes in, a couple years ago I would have changed my Skype name to Cyber Erotica Fraud Department, but nah, too tired.
Yeah, too tired. Oh,
yeah,
no.
I remember when dude would do that. He'd change his display name on Skype and call in, and usually I'd find some kind of inconsistency.
Poor dude.
Yeah, like he called as the New Jersey State Police, but he had a New Jersey Stockton College Campus Police logo for his Skype.
Oh, well. Close enough.
Close enough.
Close enough. You got the right state. Anyways. So, yeah. Anyways, I do have another update to the film situation and the future of the film situation.
Yeah.
So, one thing I figured out about the camera. Remember a while ago when I was kind of showing the films that I filmed back in college, and anytime I shot outdoors, it was really washed out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I finally figured out why that was. It turns out my family Super 8 camera at some point malfunctioned or broke between when it was last used in 1986 and next used in 1997. And it has a built-in light sensor that not only will give you an indication of low or high light levels in the viewfinder, but will also set the aperture of the camera automatically. Yeah, it doesn't have manual adjustments. It just, it's just a cheap family camera. It probably wasn't that cheap, actually, but relatively speaking. Anyways, so the point is
cheap, basically,
relatively speaking.
cheap as compared to what you really could get.
Right. I mean, it's just your basic home camera for a family that can afford the luxury of home movie taking in the 70s. It was probably a luxury of its time for a middle class household, but a lot of them had
Pre VHS.
Yeah. So, anyways, I downloaded a copy of the instruction manual for this camera, and I found that this red bar that is forever permanently present in the viewfinder indicates a low light level. So that means that the light meter is not detecting any light and is permanently setting the aperture to fully open, thus making all my movies washed out when all circumstances are ideal.
Well, that sucks.
But expired Kodachrome requires compensation with a more open aperture. So my camera is broken in a way that cancels out how broken the film I'm buying is. So at this point...
Right. Yeah, there you go.
They
That's
pair
perfect.
together pretty nicely. But what I also did to help me determine if this was just a light meter or an aperture setting was I found another identical camera on eBay.
Yeah.
And the guy wanted $30 for it. And so I watched it. And then the guy offered it to me for $25 because he saw someone was watching it and he wanted to get rid of the damn thing. He didn't even know if it worked.
Right.
And it came with
Hey,
a
I
camera.
gotta take a break real quick.
Okay.
So wait, it came with a what?
It came with a matching camera bag.
Oh, you got a bag with it too?
Yeah, that alone was probably worth the $25.
Yeah, that's a good price for those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the camera works, and the light meter works. So now I have two of the same camera, one with the working light meter, one without. And so I took 2 rolls of film and I went to the local zoo and I shot movies. I shot the first half of each roll of film in the camera, and then I swapped cartridges between the cameras and continued shooting them so I could compare how each roll of film comes out in each camera, because I have some Ektachrome in addition to some Kodachrome, but all expired, of course.
Yeah, I saw you guys went to the zoo.
Yeah. And
I wanted to pet the leopard.
yeah, that leopard was pacing back and forth nonstop.
It wanted someone to say hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it saw the people coming around there, and the leopard was like, "Well, there is my dinner tonight, and I'm going to guard this."
Yes.
It's
Probably.
or more along the lines of, "What are all these strange people that are lining up over here? I am guarding my home." Which is probably the sad reality, because it got unnerving watching. I mean, the first few back and forth, it's like, oh, look at the leopard stalking back and forth. But when he's still doing it 10 minutes later, that's when you're like, is that leopard okay? Is that okay? Or is this guy a bundle of nerves protecting his stuff, not living a good life? But hopefully he was just having an off day. I'm not going to get into pros or cons of zoos or
Yeah. I mean,
whatever.
I would have wanted to jump in the cage and rub its belly, but
I'll go to a zoo and check it out. But I certainly understand why some people would be anti-zoo, but I also don't mind going to one. So unfortunately, And so I did try to develop the roll of Kodachrome I took at the zoo. And I don't know if it's just that the film went bad from so many years of being expired, or if my developing process failed. Because I didn't want to use the same Caffeinol process I used last time, because I didn't like how it came out all yellow golden. So I thought that the first developer of the reversal process develops the film to a negative. And so if I only did the first step of that and then fixed it at that point, that I would get a good negative. Well, doing that gave me a black negative. Now,
Oh, well,
yeah. So that would be a no. That would be
a no. That would be.
I'm sorry. Where did this come and go from? Go from?
I shot a roll of Kodachrome. I tried to develop it using the first developer of the reversal process that I did for the beach.
It came out in one color, black.
But I stopped it after the first developer, thinking that would make it a negative, and if I fixed it, I would just have a negative, and then I wouldn't have to worry about the bleaching and that going wrong. But apparently, I was wrong because it came out very black. Now, here's the thing: if I run it through the projector, and if I use the lens as an eyepiece, I can see very faint images of the negative. But it is way too dark for any normal bulb to project through and make the image visible. I suppose if one had a scanner that had a stronger than usual backlight, one could somehow get something off of this spool of film. But for a test roll that I just took to the zoo for to test a camera, it's not worth going to effort to try to retrieve anything off of it.
Now, how do you convert to digital? What do you do?
I bought the cheapest Super 8 film scanner money can buy, which is also about $200.
Does it have adjustments for brightness?
Yes, and it does not work on this because it's the cheapest scanner that money can buy. Even at its brightest, it will not get through. If I hold the film up to my eyes, I cannot see light through it. It's that dark, which from researching could suggest that the film went bad, or the film was exposed to light somehow before I developed it.
Now, okay, so you're using Kodachrome.
Yeah. But I'm also using
one other thing I noticed. Second.
But I'm also using Ektachrome some too.
Yeah, right. But those are color films, and
right.
I noticed this film that you did was virtually black and white. Why don't you try some black and white film?
I do have some, and I have used some, but
okay.
But my angle, mind you, what I'm buying is unwanted expired film that I find as cheaply as I can get.
Sure.
Part of my angle is not to like.
Is black and white going to be more expensive?
Buying new film will be more expensive.
Oh, I wasn't suggesting new.
Well, what the cheapest Super 8 stock out there is expired Kodachrome.
Okay, because they made so much of it.
Right, and you can't develop it properly anymore. You can only use it as a black and white, and basically you're not going to get great results. So people that are serious about filmmaking are not out there hobbyists are buying expired Kodachrome.
Well, sometimes you'll see a challenge on YouTube of making a film using a cheap. Well, typically they'll use a cheap digital camera. So like one of the guys, apparently there's a Barbie doll that has a camera in it, and the guy made the film from his Barbie camera.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's like, why are you pointing that Barbie's belly at me? Oh, that's a camera lens. Are you a pervert? No, he didn't actually get any of that. It was creative.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
And other people use these other cheap cameras.
So what I do have is the other roll that I shot at the zoo that I haven't developed yet is a roll of Ektachrome 160G, and it's a type of stock from the early to mid 80s, and they say that you can develop Ektachrome 160G as a color film using the current Ektachrome E6 film developing kit. If you do it that way, it's not going to come out completely right, not to mention that expired film isn't going to come out completely right, but you will get some element of color in it. Now, here's the catch. The catch is that this era of Ektachrome film would typically require a pre-hardener early on to harden the emulsion. And without that step, if you process the film with the color developer at its recommended temperature of 100 degrees Fahrenheit, you're basically going to melt the emulsion off of the film. That is considered
that would be
bad.
inconvenient.
Yeah, that would I'd be that would be worse than the lovely beach shot that we were watching earlier.
Right.
Yeah. So so what I'm going to try to do is the E6 kit that I bought, because mind you, remember I shot a brand new roll of modern Ektachrome at Heart Lake, and I developed that myself because the chemical kit was the same price as having one roll processed. So even if you only process one roll with the chemical kit, you break even.
Right.
If you don't mind doing it, and that came out pretty good. But I still have the chemicals, and they're 6 months old at this point, so they're probably like getting past their date that you should use them. So it's becoming garbage now, and I got the film that's garbage now, and but the instructions do list developing times for lower temperatures. So I think I should be able to do a development at 75 degrees for a longer period of time with these chemicals and get something out of this film that has certain elements of color. So that's going to be my next experiment. So that's Zoo roll number 2. And also this roll was shot half in a camera with a broken aperture that's always wide open, and half in a standard camera that was setting to the standard aperture setting for that film. And we'll see if the broken camera comes out better because having the aperture more open compensates for the expired nature of the film, or if it's washing it out and the film's better off in a functional camera. And this will help me kind of decide which camera is better for which film stock. Now I'm gonna have to shoot another Kodachrome test between these two cameras since that roll came out black, and I think this time I'm gonna develop next test Kodachrome as a black and white negative using the same process that I developed the Boston Skyline movie with, because I know that process good. What's that?
Is that the beer one?
No, that was the Folgers.
Oh, ew. Well,
yeah, I was waiting for that.
So could you develop it with Death Wish? What do you think?
I've been using Folgers.
Ew! Ah!
Yeah.
Gross! Schifoso!
Pretty close.
Oh, by the way, did you all know that Steve Carell was in an episode of All My Children?
Nope.
Maybe.
Yeah, he was a guest at Charlie and Cecily's wedding.
Must have been a baby.
God.
Wow.
Well, what's really funny is in our watching of All My Children, we were actually like a week before Charlie and Cecily's wedding when Cracked did an article about bit parts that stars of The Office were on before they were famous, and that was included in there. And I was like, oh my God, you just spoiled me, because that would have been such a kick to be, discover that, because back when I originally saw it, I had no idea who the guy was and I didn't remember him.
Would you recognize him, you think?
I recognize him now, but back then in 96, I didn't know who Steve Carell was. He was just a bit actor,
Just a dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Here, I'm going to bring this up. All right. So here we go. This is because the way the storyline works is that Charlie and Cecily are co-workers at an investigation company. Charlie's a private eye, and Cecily was hired as his assistant. And they have a history, they have chemistry, and they kind of started getting a relationship, but they both decided that they were on the rebound and that this was just a rebound relationship doomed to fail, so they just wouldn't pursue this because, Aunt Phoebe was right. This is just a rebound. And so they decided to pursue love interests online, a la mid-90s style. So they both signed up for accounts. One of them picks the name Clueless, the other one picks the name Beyond Clueless, and they start like, exchanging messages in chat rooms back and forth anonymously, and they figure out they both live in the same town, and they kind of like, do we want to meet, do we not want to meet, and eventually, surprise, wow, it's Charlie and Cecily the whole time being interested in each other while getting on each other's nerves in real life. So at this point, Sparky Toaster is up to 27 Cheerios, I think. So let's go.
Pounds.
All right. So that's the backstory. So here is the wedding. And so as the wedding, a few people that they knew that they chatted with in the online chat rooms also saw that they were getting married and showed up to the wedding. And here they are.
Not for a 21st century bride.
Here we go. Right in the nick of time. Happy wedding, Cecily.
Yes, Mazel Tov. Thank you. I think. Do I know you?
You don't remember us?
Should I?
Clueless. It's Squidhead.
And you were Cupid. Download me. Oh, my stars. I'm sorry. These are my friends from cyberspace. We saw your wedding announcement on the net. Now, have you ever considered online modeling? Because you look gorgeous in the photo. It was pixelated. No. It's that was Charlie's idea, really.
Oh, how is Beyond Clueless?
He's just wonderful. I'm so glad you guys are here. I mean, without you two, Charlie and I would still be lost in that cyber jungle.
So, come on, open these gifts. We have a wedding to log on to.
Right, hustle your little bustle, baby. Let's go. Oh, computer chip earrings. I love them.
Made out of antique 286s.
They come from my favorite store.
286s, wow.
Nice.
Oh, thank you so much. You're welcome. Well, it looks like our work here is done. We have a little surfing to do before the wedding, so see you in church.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Antique 286s in 1996.
You
Yeah,
know what?
those are really antiques now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how about that? Steve Carell bit part All My Children 96.
Oh my.
Is that great or what? And he's so Steve Carell.
He's very Steve Carell.
He's so
He hasn't changed.
He has not. No, I mean that. If you told me, it would have been great if at some point during The Office, Steve Carell made mention of, I used to use the screen name Squidman on the internet back in the 90s. That would have been great if Squidman was actually Michael Scott. If they wrote that into The Office at some point.
You know
if
what?
only
What
they
would-
thought of that.
Either that, or they need to incorporate the 286 earrings.
Now Dune writes in, and Johnny watched this. ...
That's right, man. He's not only into porn, but he's into soap operas.
I have to say that the Charlie Cecily storyline was not one of the more interesting storylines. It was good for a yuck, like ha, the two of them are getting on each other's nerves and yet falling in love, and they don't know that they're even talking to each other online. It's been done before. It's been done again. I think they needed a way to write Charlie out of the story, and the actress that played Cecily was available, so they brought her back on. They got the two of them together. That bought them a year of storyline, and then because they get married and they leave and they're gone, and that's the last we see of Charlie and Cecily, which is about the only way you ever have a happy marriage that lasts forever in soap operas. Either that or you're Joe and Ruth Martin, but even then Ruth kind of is missing in action these days. But they're going to recast her at some point, and then they're going to have them retire to Florida.
Oh.
Yes, I watched this. I do have to say, though, I feel like 96 is past peak All My Children. I think, 90 to 95 was peak All My Children, and now we're getting to the slump. I mean, the hot story in 96 is Julia and Noah, who Noah is currently in prison for a murder he didn't commit because Noah killed Louis Greco in self-defense, and Taylor Cannon knows it because she witnessed it. But Taylor
By the way, those spoilers. Sorry, guys.
But Taylor Cannon doesn't want Julia to get Noah because Taylor wanted Noah, and Noah passed up on Taylor to be with Julia. So Taylor hid the gun that Louis pulled on Noah, and claims that she saw Noah kill Louis Greco defenseless in cold blood. And so now Noah is being locked up pending trial for murder with a crooked cop testifying that he committed murder. So things aren't looking too good for Noah right now. And man, they really turned Taylor into a fucking bitch in her last year.
You know, Sparky has just thrown his weights across the room because you just spoiled it for him. I'm so sorry, Sparky. I didn't do it. Dang.
5-Hit Dude writes in, the Ark Dude?
Now, I'm not into soap operas, but I would watch Sunrise Bay if it was an actual show. That's the fictitious soap opera that a character in Schitt's Creek was on.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah. The little clips that they show, or the little discussions they show about the show, are hilarious.
They really should just do a little spin-off episode of that, honestly.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
In fact, I would like to see a spin-off series. You know,
I think it's too much for a series. I could see a little show of it, but
probably,
yeah.
but or just have like a show that has, hey, I want to see the Crows movie.
So here they are. That's Noah and Julia. That's who we're talking about.
Wow.
Dune writing in, can you see soap anywhere? The show Soap? I know, I think I've seen parts of episodes of that, but that's one of those shows. Anytime a show comes on that I haven't seen that starts with a recap of the previous episode, it's like, oh, I need to start this one from the beginning someday, and then I change the channel. So I've never watched an episode of Soap.
By the way, I just happened to come across the post on Facebook about the Richter.
Okay.
Shivakti Slav is the first name, who is a pianist.
Okay. Very good.
Yes.
Anyways.
And one guy says greater than Mike Richter. It depends on whether you're talking music or hockey.
I'm telling you, you can't beat Andy Richter, though.
Right. And the Richter that I posted was Charles Francis Richter. The guy that did the Richter scale.
Well, he also could have composed stuff. We don't know that.
He just isn't known for that.
He just isn't
At least,
known?
or Wikipedia didn't include that. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, because there were many undiscovered composers. For example, the least of Bach's children was P.D.Q. Bach, who was
no.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Apparently, some of his compositions were discovered. Like I believe one of his well-known compositions was the Sanka cantata, which was found on a piece of paper that was discarded and being used as a coffee filter in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So that's why Sanka tastes that way.
The Sanka cantata. Yeah. No. You Brian, are you familiar with P.D.Q. Bach?
I recall the name.
Well, it was the creation of Peter Schickele.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Right, but
came out the same time as she wasn't using Wendy at the time, right?
What's that?
Wendy Carlos. She wasn't using the name, but she came out that PDQ Bach came out about the same time as Wendy Carlos' stuff, right?
Well, probably around. Yeah, I mean, Peter Schickele has released several albums with the PDQ Bach name.
Yeah.
So, like one of our favorite albums of his is the Black Forest Bluegrass. So it's a little bit of a classical bluegrass. So PDQ Bach was pretty
kind of an operatic voice there, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was ahead of his time composing bluegrass music before there was bluegrass music.
Oh, but when was that then?
Well,
Here we
actually, there was bluegrass music. It's just the premise was that it's a discovered composition. I mean, they actually had real
1500s
bluegrass
or whatever.
players. Yeah, I mean, remember, PDQ Bach is a fictional type of thing.
Yeah,
It's-
of course.
Right. But, yeah, because, you know, classical music does not sound like this.
It doesn't.
But it should.
Sure.
But, yeah, the premise is PDQ Bach, one of Johann Sebastian Bach's lesser children, and less well-known and not as musically talented, composed these odd, unappreciated music pieces, such as Blausgras.
Oh, they got a nice voice.
Anyways, we're going to get totally dinged for copyright on that.
Are you sure?
Is that,
You think,
by the
we
way-
should recognize it?
By the way, is that cheese Gouda? Or is it Bata?
It's Wensleydale.
Okay.
Never mind. Stupid joke.
Now, Dune writes in, whoops, I accidentally clicked on a link with 3 cute girls that not Sparky Toaster may or may not have sent.
What? Oh no! That must be the weightlifting he's doing right now.
Dune writes in, sounds like the song that killed all the Martians. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. No, that was a different.
That's
song.
why they haven't just come out and invaded us.
Yes, it's the Blausgras. We got them with the Blausgras.
So how many rock bands decided to do an album with a full orchestra behind them?
Several.
Many. Many.
Yeah, I mean, heck, even
Were
Grand
were
Funk.
any that truly sucked?
I think they all were good in their own way. I will
Sure.
say, if an album, if you ask me what is a weak rock band backed with orchestra album, there's one album that immediately comes to mind, and that would be the Deep Purple at the Royal Philharmonic album. That was it's okay. I mean, I own a copy of it. I bought a DVD audio of it when it came out. But it's certainly not my favorite Deep Purple album, and I can't recall the last time I listened to it. But I think it has a reputation for being mediocre at best.
Right.
But then again, that's from that awkward period of time where they were changing. There was a lot of change in members. They had fired their original vocalist, so the let's see, Concerto for Group and Orchestra. With the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, conducted by Malcolm Arnold. Are you familiar with that one at all, Brian?
Nope.
Okay, yeah. I think that was their 4th album, actually.
I'm actually not a big fan of the full orchestra behind a rock band. You know, and what? Who? Electric Light Orchestra would have a full orchestra
Well,
behind it, right?
I mean, that was their whole bag.
shtick.
That was their
and
shtick.
and yeah, like the music is good. I'm just not a fan of it. In fact, I'm not a fan of big band. I prefer a smaller band,
well,
4 or 5 members.
Well, I will say one of my favorite examples of a rock band that has an orchestra back them on a song would be the last song on Grand Funk Railroad, E Pluribus Funk, which is called Loneliness.
I
And
got
think
that one. Yeah, that's a good song.
Yeah, and
I
they
haven't
have
heard it in a long time, but yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, so all right. So there, I found a good example, and you agree. So that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
You don't have a clip you could throw out there, right?
Well, I'm working on it, but I closed Winamp by
That's
accident,
fine. Okay.
and now
That's fine. That's
it's not opening the right Winamp, so now I gotta.
We'd get another dang anyway if we did.
By the way, Gators, what's interesting is they restarted up the Winamp project.
They did.
Yeah, there's a new version out. There's a 5.99.9 something
Oh, wow.
RC1. Yeah, there's a release candidate out.
But yeah,
Really?
But
Wow.
so I think we got to skip into it a little bit before we get the orchestra. Because I mean, but the thing is it stands on its own as a rock song, and then they kind of bring the orchestra in, and I think that helps it
Yeah.
work.
I think it does. Yeah.
And it's not one of their hits. It wasn't one of their singles, but it's a really good album track. And I mean E Pluribus Funk's a pretty good album front to back.
Definitely.
I mean, E Pluribus Funk, I think, was their last.
And that's the thing. You know that is the album that proves that sometimes pie are round. No, wait a
Yes,
second.
that's also the album that is always found with some marks, scuff marks on it, because every time someone would go to reach that album to put it on the turntable at the party, the record come flying out the cover and roll across the room.
Rolls across the room. Absolutely.
And also,
damn.
dare I say it, E Pluribus Funk was Grand Funk's last really great album. They slipped into mediocrity after that. I don't know.
Yeah.
You might.
Maybe.
I mean,
I'm trying to think of what came after that, but yeah.
we're an American band. But
Yeah.
and that's a good song, but you put We're an American Band next to everything they did before that, and We're an American Band is mediocre rock at best.
You know, I agree with that.
Yeah.
That was a popular single, and I kind of go, to me that's not on a top 100 list.
Yeah. I mean, that's I'll take everything before that. I'll take. From On Time up to E Pluribus Funk is classic stuff, but they went downhill after that.
Yeah.
So they kind of jammed
Well, that's
out.
because they got screwed by the disco era.
Well, they also got screwed by their manager. They got
Well, that's
screwed a
beside the
lot.
point.
Yeah, but luckily there's a lot of great material from those few golden years of Grand Funk. Of course, there's the classic live album that came out in 1970, but they also put out a CD of a live album compiled from recordings from the next year's tour, the 1971 tour. So, which is a lot of the same stuff plus some of the other stuff from the albums after that. So that's two great live albums from that era. So, yeah. And that was a cool topic you brought up, and that's great that we just both go to this. Like I go Grand Funk, and you're like, yes. I don't
that's one
like
of my-
orchestra backing a band, but your example is great.
That is one of my favorite bands. Because of Mel. The vocals were decent.
Right.
With what's his name, Farner.
Mark Farner, yeah.
Yeah, decent. The other band members are decent, but as a bass player, Mel was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Well, then again, he played a Zahn that fucking plays itself. That's an excellent bass. I want one.
Now, Dune writes in, roll across the room. Explain that, please. Well, the album E Pluribus Funk came in a round cover because the image of the cover was like a
It's
large
like a coin.
And so it's basically a circle cover. So half of it's just open. So it made it really easy for the record to just kind of slide out of the cover when you picked it up. And I borrowed that joke from a record store guy. When I bought a copy at the record store, he was grading it to give it a price.
Well, and then there's the other part of it. Not only, you're at the party full of drunks, whether the record would go across the loon, it could be the whole damn album with the cover. So it's like a bonus. Did you get the bonus or did you get the...
Yeah. So when I found a copy of E Pluribus Funk in like a box of things that just recently came in, the guy was looking at them to price them, and he pulled it out, and he's like, yeah, it's about the condition we usually see that one in. That one always went across.
You know what?
Someone at a party
I'm
always
looking,
pull that one out.
I'm looking at their discography on Wikipedia.
There's another one in between.
So
Phoenix.
it's On Time, Grand Funk, Closer to Home, Survival, which has some good screaming, E Pluribus Funk, Okay.
And then I forgot Phoenix.
I have all of those albums, but
Right.
and then Phoenix. I don't have Phoenix.
I don't have that one either.
Actually, American Band is 73. That's still pre-disco, right?
probably, but it's still mediocre compared to anything before
Right.
that.
In other words, I am wrong. I cannot blame disco for shit. Right? As much as I want to.
I don't remember how much that record was, and that was before vinyl was hot. So even then, if I did have a price, it would be irrelevant
Before
to
it was
today's. Well, yeah, I was. That was a copy I bought in college. I think I ended up giving it to Gothard when I bought a CD of it, and then I had to buy another vinyl.
Oh, that's
copy when
right.
I
This
started
is all
rebuying
before
things.
you're born because you're still a fetus.
Not even. I wasn't a fetus until 1979.
No, because you are a fetus now.
No, I'm not.
No, I'm only kidding. There's a kid that's on
It was under $5. Anyways.
on Clarkson's farm. That's really a good farmer, helping out Jeremy. And he's 21 years old, and sometimes he'll call the kid a teenager. 21's not exactly a teenager anymore. And
Right.
and one time he calls him a fetus. You can't do that because you're a fetus.
I see. So
It's hilarious.
It's a way to call someone young. You're young. You're so young. You're a fetus.
Oh. So disco emerged in the 70s.
Yeah. Well,
In fact, the early
it died in the
origins
70s.
are late 60s in
Well,
Philly and New York.
I suppose you could find influences in the dance music of that time.
Sure.
I think often.
Well, they include like Earth, Wind, and Fire, Shaka
Right.
Khan. Well, of course, Bee Gees and Donna Summer, of course. ABBA. I never think of her as being disco, but
Well, Dancing Queen
that
and
group, I should say.
Fernando are
Yeah,
pure
yeah,
disco
yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
yeah.
But I think oftentimes what's often cited as one of the first disco hits would be George McRae with "Rock Your Baby," which had
maybe you can add a
awesome drum machine to it as well.
add a change suggestion to Wikipedia. Several
What?
dance types were developed during the disco popularity in the U.S., including the bump. Remember the bump?
The bump. Yeah, I totally
They,
remember.
they
the bump.
always put, they say developed in the 70s. Well, there's 10 years there.
Hmm.
And the other is the hustle.
Oh yeah.
Again, popular in the 70s. Oh, James Brown performing in 73. Oh yeah, that's right, Mr.
But
Mr. Funk.
I think "Rock Your Baby" '74 is considered one of the earliest real true disco hits. Where we're truly getting into that.
Of course, there's a discotheque in Arlington, Texas that gets the image. Let me see if I can
Okay.
show that. It's hard to get it correctly, but
I also think Hughes Corporation "Rock the Boat" is often cited as an early disco hit.
right. So
wonder when
you
that
got
one
the
came out.
ceiling, and at the bottom near my thumb, you can't
Yeah.
quite see it, is the disco ball, of course.
Of course.
So they're the one. You go, wait, Arlington, Texas? Wow. I mean, if you went to New York, it's probably even earlier than that. Because hey, Arlington, Texas, that's near Dallas. We're talking line dancing, man.
Okay.
Chuckle, chuckle.
Anyways, we should start looking at who's live right now to start thinking about a raid. So let's.
Holy moly, we lost a lot of time.
We didn't lose a lot of time. We filled a lot of
I
time.
know. Well, I did take a run out, so
Not that long.
You got Lyle, you got Ray Rachel.
Oh yeah,
you
Ray
got-
Rachel's live. We got Moz. We got. Well, we raided Moz last time because we had to introduce Brian to the stream that is Moz.
Right. Right.
But let's see.
I hate to say that he was a little bit boring.
Oh.
You have to experience him at least once, though.
Yeah. I mean, it was one time. In fact, I wasn't on long enough to see if he was reading into the comments.
But every now and then he gets like the techno beat going, and he just jams out with that. Every now and then you get a good one like that.
Oh, on XM Radio, I've been listening to a jazz channel called Watercolors.
Watercolors.
It's a little bit. In fact, at first I kind of go, "No, I'm not sure I'm going to like this." There's a little bit of smooth jazz that's just fucking boring. Okay. And then there are some others. Jazz is supposed to involve all of the musicians. Okay. Everybody doing a different set of their own improvisation. Okay. Well, a lot of these things are just the guitar player or the sax player or whatever. And then the background band sound like it's just loop tracked.
Huh.
Okay, they're done in a studio, I get it. But let's get some energy from that background band.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's beside. But then they have some, and this is also called contemporary jazz. But then they do have other stuff that I like. It's really good. Yeah, you got this guy playing the bass, and he has a little solo. The drummer has a little solo. The front man.
Well, anyways,
Anyway.
We got some viewers, and we don't want to lose them all. So we're gonna wrap this up while we have a good thing going
Yeah.
here. And once
who did we
again,
decide?
this has been your favorite internet radio show that you love to watch.
Insert title here.
And we do try to be educational here. And I know I've learned a whole lot here. So, Brian, what have you learned here tonight?
I learned that Johnny could be tweaking his processing and make it better. Although I thought what you put out there was great. Again, we did not come up with the perfect soundtrack. You had a good suggestion, but I think it's something that we do so it doesn't get flagged as a copyright violation.
Oh, I think the goat scream will be fine and not get.
Okay. Well,
I
that
don't
would
know.
work.
Just
That would work.
Just
'Cause
a
there was
looping
some-
single screen over and over again is just what we need.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Maybe we'll revisit that in a future episode.
But
And
it is. I mean, it is only 3 minutes, so
Right.
you could actually play a piece with
Yeah.
whatever.
And Sparky Toaster did not learn anything. Mars, what did you learn tonight?
I learned you better be up on your 90s soap operas or Gators will spoil it for you. Hey!
And
That's right.
I learned that now at some point, I'm going to have to try to redo my past mistakes because other people want to make that same effect that I made by accident.
I think that is funny.
And
Yes.
yes, that is. I found it funny that I posted like this horrible tragedy that happened, and people were like, "Dude, that's cool. How could I do it?"
Right,
Anyways,
right.
we're gonna raid Ray Rachel is what we're gonna do because she's doing the body painting, and we love the body painting. So let's go over there and say hi, and tell her all that we said hi, and we'll be back next week, same time, same place, same channel, and bye.
See ya.
Bye. See you, Mars.
See ya.
See you, Sparky.
Good night.
I'm keeping my acreage.
Oh, and
my
don't open the green folder.
That's right. And keep that sock in the drawer.
Yeah. Good night.